Okay, so today we are going to look at the basics of GarageBand and how to use three of its primary functions, as well as some of the things it does and does not do. Now, I've already got GarageBand loaded up. You can see it's down here. If you don't have it loaded up, the easy thing to do is go to your search bar and just search GarageBand, double click on it. Hopefully you'll come to this screen. If you don't come to this screen, there's a project open. That's easy, you just go File and you close that project and come to this screen. Here you have a few options available for you: project templates, lesson store, learn to play, recent, and new project. We are going to go for new project, and we're going to go for an empty project, and we're going to hit choose. That then brings up this screen where we have four options available to us. MIDI is the software instruments, the internal sounds within GarageBand. Drummer is the inbuilt studio drummer in GarageBand. Mic or line or guitar and bass are audio, where you could record audio if you wanted to, and we'll have a little bit of a look at audio later on in this and the drummer function. But we're going to start off just by choosing MIDI just to open things up. You hit create and it looks like this. So let's talk through some of the things we have in GarageBand. Firstly, here you have your sound library. If you close that, that closes down. Here you have your help function. So you can click that and it'll tell you what things are. I don't really need it, but here you can see quick help, smart control buttons. I'm going to shut that down. Next up, we have our controls here, smart controls for electric piano and other things. I'm going to close that down. I'll close down the library. And here we have an edit function as well that opens up like so. So that's those four. So library, help, control, and edit. Here we have our transport controls, so rewind, fast forward, stop, play, record, and loop. If I hit rewind, see this thing jumps forward. This is called our transport bar. So that jumps forward and back, so we'll pull that back. If I hit play, it plays. If I hit record, it will record anything I play in, but I'm not going to play anything in. And then we have our loop function. If we hit the loop function, you see this yellow comes along the top of the screen. So right now it play for 1, 2, 3, 4 bars on a loop. I could extend that out to here and it play 8 bars on a loop, which we're going to use shortly. Okay, next up in the next box we have our playhead position that tells us where we are. So this is the playhead here. So we have our playhead position. So right now it's on bar 1, beat 1. And if I move my playhead over, suddenly I'm on bar 3, beat 3. If I move it here, I'm on bar 2, beat 1. Next up, we have our tempo, which is currently set at 120 beats per minute. So if I play anything, you'll hear a click. That's 120 beats per minute. And I could slow that down by either typing in the number or dragging on the mouse. And if I press play now, the click will be slower. And I did that by just highlighting here and going up or down on my mouse. You can also type into here, so I could double click on here and type in 150, press enter, and now here it's a lot faster. I'm just going to bring that back to 120, so that'll be nice. Next up, we have our time signature. So right now we're in 4/4, but you do have other time signatures available to you, 3/4, 5/4, various things. We're just going to stay in 4/4 for today. Then you have your key signature. Now this is really important in GarageBand because your key signature will set the key the loops you select play in. So currently it's in C major. We'll look more at what that means in the future, but for now, for today, we just want to change that to A minor. Next up, we have a tuner function here for if you've got guitar. You could tune that, but we need an audio track enabled and we don't have that right now. Then we have our counting, which is really important. So counting means every time you press record, it'll count 1, 2, 3, 4 before the recording starts. And we have our click here. I will use our click tag to keep us in time. If I just turn those two things off and jump back here, and if I hit record, you'd see there's no way for me to know when to start recording and everything would be out of time. So I'd be absolutely clueless. So I have to have my counting on and my metronome on. Then when I hit record, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's super easy. Okay, so that's everything along the top of GarageBand. You've got your master volume here that you really want to just leave where it is. It's pretty good there. Then along the top here, you have a notepad where you can make notes on your work, and your loop library that we'll come to in a little while. Okay, next onto the track. So here we have a classical electric piano that is our software instrument, and if we press Command K, we get this keyboard up and we can play notes on the keyboard. Here on this keyboard, we can make it higher by going this way and moving it up an octave. And we can go lower by going there, so depending on what sound we like. So we have that is a software track. Next we're going to go track, new track, and we're going to add a drummer track and press create, and the drummer track is actually there, and we're just going to drag that up to the top, and we're actually going to start looking at our drummer track now and how to work it. So here we have different genres of music that we want our drummer to be: rock, alternative, songwriter, R&B, electronic, hip hop, percussion, etc. We're going to stay on electronic. Here we have then subgenres of that music. So you've got big room EDM, tech house. If you're on rock, you've got pop rock, retro rock. But we're going to stay on electronic for today, although you can have a play around with this. But for this demo, I'm going to use the electronic one, and I'm going to go for a tech house drummer. Okay, so you get that up. Then you get different sounding kits down here. So you've got electronic drum kit or drum kit. Here's the electronic drum kits. Currently, it is set to a deep tech kit, which sounds like this. But I could change that to a different sound. I'm going to go for this sound here, the 808 Flex, just so you can hear the difference. So you can hear that completely changes the sound of the kit. So have a listen to different kits, see which one you like. I am actually going to go back to the tech kit. Oh, I can't remember which one it was. Let me have a look through. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to jump to there, to there. Now what I've gone wrong is here it's brought up my controls. I just need to double click here and it brings up the box I want. There you go. So if that box disappeared like it did for me, like if I do that, the box disappears. I'm going to go back to the 808 Flex. I double click on the drummer region, it brings this up. Okay, the drummer region. You have beat presets here. So this is what After Hours sounds like. This is what Atmosphere sounds like. So very, very different. I am just going to go for this lights out because I like the sound of that kit. So next up, you can set what the kit sounds like. You've got loud, complex, soft, and simple. So if we push it into this top corner here, it will be both loud and complex. If we go for the opposite and go down here, it will be both soft and simple. So you can play around with that for a bit, find a sound that you like. I'm just going to keep it in the middle here, so we're somewhere between all four corners. Then over here, you have a choice of what appears in it. So right now I've got a bass drum, a snare, a clap, a hi-hat, and some percussion. I'm actually going to take the percussion out and add in a shaker. So that sounds quite nice. I'm going to add some tambourine as well. But the beat sounds a bit stripped. So here you have a number between 1 and 6. What this does in layman's terms is this says how much these things will appear. So if it's 1, they won't appear a lot. If it's 6, they'll appear a lot. So this is what it sounds like with all of these things set to 1. And if I set them to 6, we can have a listen to the extreme difference. Between 1 and 6. I can also say how many fills I want. So let's say I want loads of fills in there. Let's see what that sounds like. I'm just going to balance this out a bit, and I'm going to put that to 4. And we'll put you to 2, and it should sound a bit more balanced. So that's what it sounds like with lots of fills. This is what it sounds like with no fills. And finally, we have swing, which determines how on the beat it is. So if it's set down here at the bottom, it'll be absolutely rigid on the beat, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we bring it all the way over here, it'll be swinging, it'll be coming off the beat quite regular. So have a play around with that, have a play around with some different sounds, see what you like. I'm actually going to set my song down to 0 there, and I'm going to put my fills at 15%, and I'm just going to make it a little more loud and complex, just to make it a bit more exciting. And then that is the drummer function. Next up, if we close those down, and I go to my classic electric piano, I've got drums here, so what I actually want is to put some bass underneath there. So to do that, I'm going to click on library here. Now you might think you want to go to this bass here, but you actually don't for this exercise. You want to go down here to the arpeggiator, and I want you to go to synth bass, and then you get all these things down the side. So I'm going to go analog bass sequence, and then I'm going to hit my edit button. No, I'm not. I'm going to hit my control button, and it'll bring this up. And you can see if I press Command K, and I want the A sound, which is this key H here, and I want it to be a bass, so I want it to be lower. That's okay. So you're going to press H just for this exercise. I can have a play around with the sound. So I can have it sound like this, as snappy. I can slide this over. We could go full gallop and see what that sounds like. I could make it have these hollow triplets, which I don't really like, and I could make it sound all lo-fi. Make that an octave lower. Okay, that's pretty nice, but let's have a go with another pattern. So you've got all these patterns here. Let's go for a synth pop bass line and see what that sounds like. Here it's saying you've made changes. You can just hit continue for now. That's fine. Now this is a different type of control. So if I hold down H, you can hear that, and I can play around with things down here. So for example, I could have it not detune at all, or I could have it really detuned. I'm actually going to pull the detune off. I'm going to add some timbre to it. Pull the sub back a little bit. And just fiddle with it FM there. Okay. So have a play around those, have a play around with different ideas, see what sounds you can come up with. All I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down this A note, which is H on your keyboard, and I'm going to record it in under this section here. So I'm actually going to set my loop function to make sure I don't go over, and then I just hit record. It'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll hold down H. Okay, now I've recorded that in. Now I'm actually recording with my AirPods on, so I get something called latency, which means I've missed the start of the bar. So if I move this playhead here, this one down the bottom, you can see this note should be here on bar 1, beat 1, but it's not. It's actually here, which is the wrong place for it to be. So I've got two options here. One, I can just drag it there and put it like that. If I press Command Z to undo that though. Another function we have, which is really cool in GarageBand, is called quantize. So quantize just snaps everything to the right place and makes it in time. So if I do this as a 1-1 note and do that, you'll see it snaps it into place for me. Nice and easy. I can scroll along here and just make sure that's going all the way to the end of the bar there. So really, really simple, really, really straightforward. One thing I should have done that I've not been doing is also saving regularly. So I'm just going to go File, Save, and we'll call this GB Demo. Let's save, and that'll save that for me. So now if we press play, we can have a listen to what we've got so far. Okay, sounds good so far, sounds very interesting. We'll just save that again. Okay, so there we've had a look at the basic controls of GarageBand. We've had a look at how to put a drummer track in. We've had a look at how to put in a synth bass line. We've had a brief look at the edit functions, the library, and the control functions. So what we will do is call it a day there with this one, And when you come back to the next video, we'll have a look at how we can add audio loops to this and a quick look at how we can make our composition sound good for when we want it to finish and we want it to end and we want to export it to our disk. So come back for that one and keep an eye out for the next video.